this video, we're going to take a look at how we can take all the pieces that we've made inside of Maya and up-res them and move them over to Zbrush. So you can see before from the earlier video, just took the whole folder structure and duplicated it and called this up-res. And I'm just working with the Canon right now. I did that so I can save the lower res geo in case I want to use that for some game res geo in the future. So then I've got a separation between what was low res and then now this higher res kind of game res, or not higher res pieces that I've been working on. So let's go ahead and take this and push this over. So we're going to use FBX as a file format to go inside of ZBrush, and the nice thing about it is you can just grab everything, export one FBX file, and then you can import that into ZBrush, and it's going to recognize all the different pieces you have. So if I hold on shift and click this and open this up, you can see we've got a side left and we've got a side right, and we've got all the other pieces that kind of go in the middle. So it's going to export every single one of these pieces. Now if you do want to have these things together, like let's say I wanted all these wood pieces to be together, I would actually need to come in here and go to mesh and say combine. I would need to combine those together, and that would have to become a one-piece mesh that's inside of Maya that gets pushed over to ZBrush. So if you want to do that for organizational purposes, you need to think about that a little bit beforehand and maybe think a little bit ahead strategically, like how you want to put those things together. So currently, like right now, I've got this and this part as the wheel. So if I wanted those two things to come in together, then I would have to go and say mesh combine for that and combine those pieces. But I'm going to leave everything separate for now. The other thing I want to pull to your attention is that anything that's like on a left side or right side, and if you have the same name, even though that the parent group of this was called side underscore L, and then this is side underscore right, if the name of these pieces match exactly the same in that folder structure, ZBrush doesn't know what to do with it, and it's only going to pull one of them in here. So what I had to do was add a L underscore for all the left side pieces and an R underscore for all the right pieces. It was pretty easy to do that. You can just select all these pieces like this, and you can go to modify and you can say prefix hierarchy names, and that allows you to put something in there like you know, if I want to do LL underscore like that and hit apply, you can see it's going to put LL underscore in front of everything that sits there. I'm going to hit undo for that, but that was basically, I put an L underscore in front of all the left side pieces and an R underscore in front of all the right side pieces. All right, so we'll go ahead and select this folder. We're going to say File, Export Selection, do the option box for that. Select this to FBX for the file type, and we'll go ahead and say Export Selection. This will bring up the dialog box for like what you want for your options. I just kept it the same as Unreal, smoothing groups, tangents and binormals, smooth mesh, and you can see animation is turned on, but you really don't need that. You can turn that off. And so I give it a name of Canon underscore all underscore upres and save that as FBX, and also go ahead and say export selection, overwrite what I had before on that. And then now I'm going to hop on over to ZBrush, and you can see this is what will be imported in. Now this has subdivision levels on it. The method I just showed you does not have these subdivision levels on it. So if I hold down Alt, I can click on any one of these pieces and I can select it in the subtool stack that's over here. I'm going to work with just this one, and I'm going to turn on solo right now. So I'm just working with this particular object. I'm going to go to the geometry section and then go to this subdivision levels area and then drop it down. This is actually what was imported into ZBrush from Maya, and I added subdivision levels to this. You can see it's got 1, 2, 3, 4 subdivision levels to it. And so that was just done by clicking this divide. Actually, you should learn the hotkey for that, Control plus D. And that will add divisions to it. Now, if you want to step up in divisions, you can tap D. And if you want to step down in subdivision levels, you hit Shift D. So that's going to help you move up and down in subdivision levels like this, right? So I'm going to take it off solo, bring everything back. So I added subdivision levels to every single piece in this model. So if I went onto the wheel, you can see that this has got so many subdivision levels. I just basically looked at the model and try to get it to where you don't see this faceting on it. So you can kind of still see the polygons on this one. So if I hit Control D, you can see it adds one more subdivision level and it kind of takes away that faceting. If I hold down Alt and click on this one, hit Control D, Let's hold down Alt, click on this subtool, hit Control D, hold down Alt, click on this one, hit Control D, and you can see that's how I added all the different subdivision levels. Okay, so I'm going to start fresh and show you how this was imported in. I'll tap the comma key and then I'll just go to Projects and I'll double click on the Dynasphere underscore 128. I'm not going to save the project. And what we need to do, we need to use a Z plugin. This is where you can import the FBX into. So go to Z plugin. If you want to dock it to the right, you can drag it here, or you can drag it to here. And again, it's just dragging this little icon here and then clicking and dragging over. So open up in the Z plugins area, go to FBX exporter, importer, and then you can go to import and go ahead and navigate and find your object and hit import. It's going to go through and it's going to make an object and import all the different pieces in, and then when it's done, everything should be good to go. And you can kind of see what I was talking about as it's imported in and what it kind of looks like. So now I can hold down Alt and then hit Control D just like we did before. And I'll do it one more time. You can see on here I've got 5 subdivision levels on this one, and I'd have to go through on this and hold down Alt, select this one, hit Control D a few times, probably about 4 for that object. Each object's going to be a little bit different. I'm going to hit Control D on this one and add about 4 subdivision levels to that one, like this. And I'm just doing this kind of quickly now. And I'll add some to these. Maybe 2 on these guys. So I'm just quickly Control D, Control D, Control D, Control D. And on this, maybe I need about 5. Hold down Alt, click on that, Control D. And we're getting really close. And I'll click on this one. And we just need a few more over here. And that one's got it. And I think we're good to go. So I'm just going to take this and frame it up. Like so. And then I'll hit Shift R to do a render of this. Or you can tap the BPR button. Either one will be fine for that. Okay, so that's going to give us the option to bring it in, add our subdivision levels to it, and kind of hold it as what we would have for the base cage level inside of Maya, pushing over to ZBrush. Now, let's take a look at one other option over here. So I'm just going to hop over to Maya real quick. And what we could do is select all the different pieces. We can actually select this whole cannon group. And if you remember, we can go to Modify, Convert, Smooth Mesh Preview to Polygons. And if we do that, it's going to put a node on each one of these. Might take a little bit of time to set that up, but it's going to throw this node on there. Now the node is live still, so there's history on there. You can tap 0 in this area in the channel box, or you can tap 1 or 2. The default should be 2. So now that this is all has these different conversion of the Smooth Mesh Preview on, now when we go to export this, I'm just going to say File, Export Selection, and I will do Canon All Up Res, and I will do Smooth Mesh Preview Convert, something like that. Export Selection. Let's hop on over to ZBrush, and let's go ahead and just put it on maybe like a polysphere or something like that, just to make sure we're not importing over the top of anything that's important to us. I'll go to this FBX importer and we'll import, and we'll do this new file, hit open, and it's going to go through, take a little bit of time. Now everything should come in and it should have 2 subdivision levels on it. Well, it should have the appearance of having 2 subdivision levels on it. So now you can take a look and kind of get a little bit closer, and you can see the resolution of everything's going to be a bit higher. So if I hold down Alt and click on this and we take a look at the geometry in here, now we can just go hit Control D, maybe 2 times and kind of up-res that. So depending on how you want to pull this stuff in, you know, it's really up to you. You can do either method, and either method should be fine. The other thing is if anything's drawing inside out, it's probably because you need to flip the normals that you have inside of Maya. So I don't have any issues with this right now. Like if we flip the right side with the negative scale, we got to make sure we go to modify freeze transformations and do that. But then you could have things that are drawing the incorrect way. So whenever I first imported these guys in, they were drawing inside out, and that's basically if I did mesh display and I reversed the normals on this, and I've got the option on here for backface culling on, you can see that we've got a problem with these pieces. So I actually had a problem with these whenever I was actually building them, and I had to go to each piece and then go to mesh display and say reverse to reverse the normals. So if I tab G, tab G, tab G, tab G. So if you've got any pieces that are drawing like they're drawing inside out, that's what you're going to have to do to go ahead and fix that. And then you have to re-export. Okay. So everything should be set and everything should be ready to go. These are the options that you're going to want to use for taking your models and then exporting them from Maya into Zbrush and then getting them into Zbrush and having it show up in a predictable way that can move back and forth between the two different programs.